Welcome to Dance to Heal. I'm your host, Jenny C. Cohen. Join me as I share stories of how dance and movement can bring healing in a way that is safe and tailored to your life. I'm a cancer survivor, mother of two, and an award-winning performer who found that movement was vital to my recovery. I created Dance to Heal Wellness and also authored the best-selling book, Outside in Recovery, Dancing My Way Back to Myself After Breast Cancer. I will bring new techniques to help you on your dance journey and healing path. Are you ready to move? Dance to Heal starts now. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to welcome Jay. He's the founder of the only celebrity podcast guest booking website called Podstarz. Podstarz. Welcome, Jay.
What's going on, Jenny?
I'm so excited. Look, folks, I'm jumping up and down. I'm so excited.
Excellent. And you're jumping up and down the clouds, it looks like. No, that's the ocean. It looks like
I know. I'm
clouds.
like, I'm in the water
Yeah.
playing.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. So, folks, I wanted to really explain why Jay is here. In my Dance to Heal podcast, we talk about the healing journey, and I have been much more for, I'm so excited about this, I can't even speak, much more verbal about how vocal one needs to be in their healing journey, even if I'm just talking about your story. And so Jay's company now allows a person to be a part of a community, right? Where he'll personally recommend you to podcast hosts that are looking for a guest. Tell us more about where your company's shifted to today.
So we had our 2-year anniversary yesterday, actually. So it's been 2 years that we've gone live. And we had started off with two different categories. There was a celebrity section, which was basically like a cameo where you can go pick out who you want on your show, pay them the fee they're asking for, easy peasy. The entire interview actually goes through the Podstarz website. So you don't send the people Zoom links anymore. It all goes through our site. You can still record the same as we are now. That doesn't change, but and then we also had another side, which was professionals, which was a monthly subscription service. It was only $9, and you got 3 credits for $9. So basically, 3 interviews for $9 with any of our. At that time, we had 175 professionals, and we vet our professionals to make sure that they were top notch. They're neurosurgeons, NYPD, FDNY, chef scientists. We had top notch people. Still have them. But what we did figure out was the subscription service wasn't working as well as we'd like it to have. And a lot of people weren't getting booked. And they were asking me, Jay, like everyone else is getting booked. Why am I not getting booked? And it's not an easy answer to give somebody. So it got to the point where maybe it was time for a change. So we figured on the 2-year anniversary, let's pivot. Let's just go to a strictly everybody on board is a pay-as-you-go service. So some people are going to be as little as $2. Some people are going to be as much as 50, 60, $70. We don't ask the celebrities what to pay. We don't tell them what to pay. So as of yesterday, we have shifted gears or a professional pivot, as it's called in the business. And now we are just strictly, all of our talent is encompassed under one umbrella known as Podstarz with a Z, of course. And yeah, so we've made it much more user-friendly, and we've put everybody all under one umbrella, and easy to find, easy to book, and easy to search for.
I love that. So I want to clarify one thing though. So Jay, it's Pod Stars or Podcast Stars?
So when you go to search for them on the top of the website, you'll see podcast stars, but we call all our people stars. So
Of course, of
of
course.
course,
Yes,
of
yes, I
course,
love it.
everyone's a
So,
star.
yeah, so folks, remember when you want to just check this out, it's podcast and then STARZ. And then is that .net or .com, Jay?
.net. .com was
Perfect.
taken and quite expensive.
What? I know, I know, I know. I'm so glad I grabbed Jenny C. Cohen when it was like, low priced. I do want to speak on this whole being paid for when you speak, audience members who are listening and watching on YouTube. It is perceived value. That's all it is, right? And so I love this platform being a way to legitimize your authority. It's amazing, even if it's if you're a professional who wants to just have more speaking gigs. What is this rating system at the end of the interview? Tell us about that.
So there are other sites that are similar to ours where you can book somebody through AI or whatever the case may be, and you don't get to rate those people. So basically, you're waiting for a computer to spit out a name. Hopefully, that name is a great match and a great interview for you, and sometimes it is. But then there's the other case where sometimes it's not. So what we did is we gave a rating system. You can interview somebody, and at the end of the interview, you can give them a 1 to 5 star. You can even leave a comment. Great interviewer. Totally hammered, bad interview, fell asleep during the talk, or fantastic interview, talked forever, great topics. So we want to make sure that when you're on the website, you get to book someone that you know is going to be maybe not only someone that's aligned with what your podcast is about, but also a great interview at the end of the day, because you don't want to waste anybody's time. Nobody wants to waste their time. And that's part of the reason we built this website was we know that you can go on social media and chase someone down on Instagram for 8 months and say, please do my podcast, please do my podcast, please do my podcast. Here's the thing. They're getting that from you and 8 million other people who are saying the same thing about podcasts. So what we've done is we've cut down that time altogether where the celebrity comes on, they're already on the site. They can put it right in their Instagram handle. For podcast bookings, go to podstarz.net. You go to our website and you can book them immediately because let's face it, time is precious. For you to have to chase someone down for months and months and months to try and get them on your show. I understand when you do get them after the fight, it is a win, and I get that. But at the end of the day, isn't your time more valuable than chasing someone down for months? Whereas you can just come, pay them what they're asking for, because a lot of this is where podcasts are shifting to, and we saw that going in where podcast was becoming more like Comic-Con, where comic used to be able to get people to come to Comic-Con for $50 and they'd probably
Mhm.
sign your autograph for free. Now there's a 4 hour lineup and they're charging hundreds of dollars for pictures and autographs. Podcasts are the same way. There's 8 billion podcasts out there now, and everybody is trying to get guests for their show to get that clout, to get that name attached to their podcast, to get those downloads. What we've done is we've made it easy where you can come there. Like I said, there's people who are as cheap as $5, $2, $3, and there are people who are upwards of, Tom Arnold, who's one of our bigger celebrities. But at the same time, you know who you're getting. The entire interview is booked through us. Everyone gets 24-hour reminder emails from our site saying, don't forget about the podcast, because let's face it, that does happen. Our website also converts time zones, which, let's face it, that is a problem and happens quite often where people are like, oh, at 3 o'clock EST to PST, what is that? Our site does that for everybody, so there's no problem there whatsoever. And it's all done incredibly easy and quickly through the Podstarz website. So for every podcaster, look, I just ask you to come check us out. And if you have questions, all of our contact information is up there. And I want to work with you. I want to talk to you. I want to recommend guests for you. I'm not going to immediately say, you should book Tom Arnold, because obviously, let's start small. Let's find someone who's a little cheaper and let's get that interview down. And once you start getting used to the Podstarz website, then things will start to roll. And I guarantee you'll see success because we do social media posts for you. We make sure the celebrity does posts for you. We do free graphics. So whoever you book, so say you book one of our South African safari guides, we'll take his picture, your podcast logo, we'll put a nice little graphic together for you and send it to you free of charge, all part of the service. And you get to blast that onto your socials. We retweet, like, comment, all that good stuff. The celebrity does, the podcaster does. So everybody wins in this scenario, and it's quick and easy. And Podstarz wants to help you get better and get your downloads where you want them to be.
Oh, I love that. So, speaking of downloads, explain to us because the whole how this episode is titled is how to grow your audience as a podcaster.
1,000%.
Anyone who, yeah. So, what are some suggestions? Just give us like two tips of how to grow. Besides, of course, enroll in podcast stars, of course.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. When I was a podcaster, I was struggling. That's half of the reason I came up with this idea was because getting those download numbers where you want them to be for an ad read or maybe some sort of, a collaboration with a big company so you can start making some money off your show is not easy. And the thing that I realized very quickly, and it's even more pressing now, is
Mhm.
all of the celebrities are making millions of dollars off each other coming on their podcasts. So Shannon Sharp will have Cat Williams and Ocho Cinco and Bill Murray, And then Joe Rogan will have his friends and his, MMA fighters and Dana White, and like they're all recycling each other's friends and high class celebrities, so their numbers go through the roofs, while the rest of us are left to struggle. Well, that's why Podstarz has come along, is to make sure that everybody has that opportunity to be successful. So you don't have to be Joe Rogan to have a great comedian on your show, like
Mm-hmm.
Jacoby Ray,
Mm-hmm.
who was a featured comedian at Podfest where we met. So
It's
we've
amazing.
done that for you. And if you want to get your downloads up, it is a grind. It is constant social media promotion. And let's face it, these days, to be better than, you have to be different than. If you're the same as everybody else, everyone else is doing the exact same thing, you have to try and stand out. And I guess that's why people are like making TikTok pranks for their podcasts and things like this, because they're trying to stand out. And I also get that as well. But if you can bang off some great quality interviews with some amazing talent, and they don't have to be celebrities. Like I said, we have first responders, we have scientists, we have a woman who works at NASA. I mean, we have some amazing guests. And if you can bang off some quality interviews and with Podstar's help, do a whole bunch of social media promotion, because if there's three of us all promoting it, the podcaster, Podstarz, and the guests, that's three different ways of getting your downloads up. And that's, at the end of the day, that's what we want you to do, because I've seen way too many podcasters who have a passion, who started their podcast, and after, I think the magic number was 6 episodes, if they're not getting the downloads, they throw in the towel. Like, forget it, this is not working, I quit. We don't want that to happen. You started your podcast for a reason. You have a passion for something and you want to talk about it and you want to try and be successful talking about
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
So why give up? You know what? If you have an air fryer podcast and you're 10 episodes in and you're like, I can't talk about air fryers anymore. Well, how about taking one of our chefs off of the Podstar site and let them tell your guests about different ways to use their air fryer or different recipes other than using an air fryer? But you're basically putting some juice into your podcast, kind of like a shot of a Red Bull. Like, you want those downloads, you've got to change it up. So maybe what you're doing right now isn't working, and there's nothing wrong with that, because it's hard. Podcasting is a grind. So let Podstarz help, and let's help you get those downloads where you want them to be. And then once you've got them, once you've got the audience hooked, you've got them. Now you just have to keep growing it. And that's what Podstarz is here to do. So let's do it together.
Oh, I love that. I love that. You got me all excited. I'm gonna go look at my Buzzsprout and tell you how many downs I have. I mean, I have almost a 85, I think, episodes. And for me, but it has been a grind, folks. It becomes very, oh, I don't want to bother people, and the reality of it is you kind of have to.
You really do, because it's your passion, your dream, and you're pushing yourself. And it's unfortunate that if you wanted to have someone and they said, "Yep, I'll do your show," and then the day of, "Oh, I can't do it. Oh, I can't do it. Oh," well, Podstars make sure that doesn't happen, because you're locked in, and it just doesn't happen. We make sure of that. I mean, that's part of the reason that Podstars is around, because everybody wants to be successful.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, I don't even know how to navigate my website, y'all. Like, I need someone like Jay to help me. Let's see, all time. Oh, yay! I'm up to 1,400 downloads. Woohoo! Okay, sorry.
Oh, hey,
And
feather in your cap, do it.
right, and the goal though is to have way more. And do you help us with because I know we're on the podcast stars platform for the interviews that we choose to be on there. Do you help us with optimizing things like YouTube subscriptions and downloads? Do you recommend also doing that? Because I've heard it's the number one search engine still,
It is.
Google and YouTube.
YouTube is actually taking over. We actually talked to a person from YouTube, the company, who said that
Hmm.
now the YouTube podcast is exploding. And it's more or less, it's not like you're listening to it while you jog. People are putting it on in the background while they're doing laundry, while they're doing dishes, while they're cooking dinner, whatever the case is. So it's blowing up. As far as advice goes, look, I am more than willing to talk to anybody about anything that involves podcasting. The thing is, I am not a podcast professional. That's why I threw in the towel. I am. I know about podcasting. I know a lot of people who know about podcasting, and we have a lot of people on our site who know a lot about podcasting. So I will definitely help you in any way that I can. But my advice would probably not be the one that you'd want to take, other than the great advice for guests and stuff like that. Because who am I to tell you how much time you should put in? I mean, I've heard people say to have a successful podcast, you have to do one a week and same time, same day. It's got to be consistent to keep your audience. And I understand that. I couldn't do it. I had a regular 9 to 5. I had kids. I have pets. I couldn't do it. So I started to fall apart because I couldn't do it on Thursday. Then you know what? I'll do Tuesday. And I didn't have the grind in me,
Mm,
let alone
mm,
now
mm.
starting Podstarz. This is a totally different grind, which, by the way, I don't recommend to anybody.
Well, the thing is, it is a passion project for you, I feel, because when we met at Podfest, folks, back in January of this year, hopefully when you're listening to this will have gone on in future for like back in 2025, years ago when we first met. Um, Jay and I hit it off because I was so excited about how happy you were to be there, how present I felt you were, and you were approachable. You're approachable. Now, folks, this is super important because we have podcast hosts listening to this and also podcast guest people dream of being on a podcast, right? And it's very intimidating. It's very intimidating to be like, oh, I want to be a speaker, and podcasting is one way to do it, but I don't know what to do. And I want to assure you, my audience, that Jay is so approachable. He's never going to be like, oh, you should know that, because he doesn't assume we know anything, right?
Correct.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so we're gonna end this on give us two pieces of advice you would give us, Jay, on what should the topic be on? Give us two pieces of advice on what you would suggest on how to prepare to speak on a podcast.
So you're being interviewed?
Or, yeah, whichever way either you're the guest or you're the host.
Okay. I'll play one of each then. As a host, I believe the research is the key. I really do. I've seen too many people walk in interviews where they would ask the same. We'll take professional wrestling, for instance. We have a lot of professional wrestlers on our website, and I listen to the podcasts that are booked through Podstarz just to see how people are doing. And it's the same questions. It's, when did you start wrestling? Who trained you? How long did it take? But if you go on their Google and you do like a deep dive of people's careers and lives, you'll find things about those people that aren't necessarily tied to professional wrestling. So we actually have Tim Russ from Star Trek Voyager. He played Lieutenant Tuvok, Vulcan
Yes.
guy, awesome actor, awesome guy. When we first signed him up to Podstarz, he said, listen, I know everyone knows me from Star Trek, but I'm a very accomplished guitarist and musician. I have my own band and I play in LA every Friday night, every Saturday night. So once I started to tell the podcast community that he was interested in music, people were like, oh, I see. So now there's a deeper dive. Now it's not just about on episode 41 of Star Trek Voyager, you said this. Now people are like, wow, you're Voyager, you're a musician. And if you do a deeper dive, he is extremely into politics, and I mean hardcore. So I'm not sure how many people want to go down that road during a podcast, but that door is also open. But the bottom line here is people have more to offer than just what you might know them for. So do your research. If you watch Hot Ones, the chicken wing show where they interview the celebrities, that
Yes.
guy has amazing questions. And you will always see the celebrity say, wow, where did you get that question from? How did you know about that? I've never been asked that before. And now they're thrown off their game. Not only are they eating the spicy wings and they're getting weak in the knees and answering questions, but now they're like, wow, I've never been asked that before. So their answer is not predetermined. Like they've been asked this question 50 times. They know how to answer it 50 different ways. You're asking them something new. Now you're getting an organic response from them, which is something they weren't counting on. Maybe you weren't counting on, and it's something that will help you grow your show. So that's my
Oh,
do your research as a host. If you're there to be interviewed, be sober. Um, have a glass of water by you so you don't get dry mouth while you're talking, and listen to the person who's interviewing you. Be like, when they're asking you a question, try not to say yes or no answers. Let's beef it up a little bit. Let's give a fantastic answer. Put a smile on your face. Let's all have fun, because at the end of the day, that's why we're doing this interview. You're doing it to get downloads and be successful. I'm doing it because I want to promote myself, my book, my TV show, my autograph appearance, whatever the case is. At the end of the day, you want everyone to know that you're a fantastic interview and a good person.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for those two tidbits. And I'm gonna add audience that they're both actually interchangeable, right?
Oh, a thousand
So
percent.
when, right? Because when I'm a guest, I'm actually researching the host of the podcast because I want to bring more to it than anything else. I love it when I have a guest that will redirect the attention back to me because I always redirect the attention back to my host when I'm a guest. I love that. And the whole thing about the dry mouth, I have a huge bag of you get to see this, y'all, because Jay is here.
Excellent.
My bag of Pulse
There it
Relief
is.
cough drops, sugar free, to keep my throat moist. And I'm always drinking warm water because I don't want you guys to hear my dry mouth, right? Because that happens when you're in an interview. And some people are very sensitive in their ears. And if they hear you while you're talking, they'll turn off your interview.
It's like an ASMR sort of scenario where you can hear the crunching or the chewing or the dry mouth or the coughing or
Right? Right. It's from when I was training for voiceover work. They were saying they shouldn't hear the smacking of your mouth opening and closing in the recording. And I thought, oh, they be hearing that when we're in an interview. So then I worry about that. Lighting is also really important, folks, because if I were to turn off my light for my YouTube people, you would not really see me very well versus when I have a bright light on my face and then you can see my eyes and my mouth. And for my interviewees, make sure you do a side recording so that's a good B-roll for yourself, okay? One other question, because Jay told me there's nothing I can't talk about.
nothing. Open book.
Nothing. Open book. All right. So tell me about your very first, most favorite pet.
Oh God, that's easy. So unfortunately, here comes the sob story. Ready? My parents split up when I was 11. So my dad hated cats. So as soon as my mom and dad split up, my mom went on this cat frenzy. So I grew up with cats. And look, I like cats. I have no problem with cats, but they get a little much. So
Yes.
once I had my own family, my own house, I said, I'm finally getting my dream dog, which was a wiener dog. I got this guy. He's my best friend in the world. His name's Kimbo. Sadly, I lost him 2 years ago, but that 11 years that I had with him were some of the best 11 years I've ever had with a pet. And now I'll never go back. I'll never not have a dog. And unfortunately, I will never have a cat again. I'm officially a dog person. Somehow I got a rabbit, which, by the way, if anyone's interested in buying a rabbit or getting a rabbit, I will ship him to you free of charge. I will even, maybe I'll even drive him to your house. They are horrible pets. He does nothing except eat my baseboards. He's cost me a fortune. So I'm out of the rabbit business. I have fish. They're very quiet and I like them. And I have my dogs. So I'm a fish and dog guy. That's as far as I go.
All right, so my rabbit lovers, don't take offense, all right? I know
No,
some of us love rabbits because they take a certain temperament. There's a certain temperament for people to be able to have rabbits. They're really high level care. So don't say yes right now. Those of you excited to hear, I'm gonna get Jay's rabbit. Be aware, rabbits take a special kind of handling because their personality is so different from dogs versus cats. I have both. It depends on what you want, folks, because I have cats that are fiercely independent. They never snuggle with me, little silly things, except when I'm asleep. Then they're all over me, but not when I'm awake, right? And then my dogs, they stick to me like glue, and
yep.
they act like, you leave the house and you've died, and then you come back, oh my God, you're alive! It's that kind of thing, right? Yeah.
Nothing better than pulling up to your house and seeing your dog at the window with his tail
What,
wagging.
what's,
It's like I'm trying to get my wife to be the same way. Why don't I get that kind of wagging of anyways, you get
something's
it.
wagging, but you just can't see it, Jay. Don't worry about it.
All right.
All right, folks. So we're going to end on this. Remember, you're going to go to Podcast Stars with a Z, STARZ.net, register, and then send Jay a message and say you saw and heard this interview with Jenny on Dance to Heal podcast. And you're really interested in finding out more and how you can be in touch and how you become either a podcast host and I'm not going to say or and a podcast guest. I'm actually going to check it out, Jay. I really like this. And then watch out for more future podcast stars guests on this podcast. Jay, thank you so much for
Perfect.
coming today.
Absolutely.
You're gonna have
January's
to come
awesome.
back. I think you're gonna have to come
Let's do it.
back.
Let's do it.
Let's have him come
Monthly.
back. Okay.
Let's do it.
Monthly. Yeah.
All right.
All right, folks. We'll see you next time. Bye bye. Thanks for listening to Dance to Heal with Jenny C. Cohen. Come back next time to hear stories of recovery through movement and learn more ways that you can move your body. To work with me and continue your journey, visit OutsideInRecovery.com. Are you ready to move?